Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to do a super quick review of my Armored Red Ranger costume by Aniki Cosplay. There it is, standing on a mannequin that I purchased so I can display it while I'm not wearing it, which, let's be honest, may not be all the time, as much as I want to wear my red spandex while walking down the street. I figured I would get a little bit more use out of it by making it sort of an art piece in my apartment. Power Ranger cosplay costumes are sort of a niche market, so I just wanted to offer some of my experiences to you guys if you were thinking of buying. If you're watching this review, then you're probably interested in purchasing a Power Ranger cosplay costume, or you've just heard about Aniki and you're looking to see if the $1,000 price tag is worth it. I know a lot of people in other reviews have gone into the pros and cons with him. Most of the positive stuff is always very similar. It's just that he's top of the line quality. He's like, his suits are the very best. The price reflects that if you're willing to pay it. And then some of the negatives go into his communication isn't very good. He doesn't respond to emails. He has very long wait times. He might say 3 or 4 months, but really it's going to be about 6 months to a year realistically. And so I'm not going to go too much into that because that's all, if you're researching Aniki specifically for Power Ranger cosplay, then I think you probably already heard that repeated quite a bit. So I'm going to go into more of my personal experiences with him because while this looks absolutely freaking amazing, I mean, like from the quality of the mold of the helmet to the shield all the way down to some of the stitching on the gloves, just really good quality stuff. I'll get some better shots of it. There were a couple of disappointing things opening the box, which I think might have been specific just to my case, and I just have some thoughts about it, so we'll go into that. So I'm just going to run my way down the suit so you can see some of the details right there. Obviously the helmet is the main attraction and the arguably best part of this suit. It's a very, very snug fit. If you're claustrophobic, then you won't be able to pull this off. It just barely fit onto my head. Like, I have to squeeze it and then clamp it, and it even like pinched a little bit on the sides of my skin, which was, it was a struggle to get into. You might need some help. I know a lot of people comment on that as well. If you're unsure, give yourself an extra inch, even 2 inches when you're giving him the measurement of your head. You'll definitely appreciate it. Some people have to pull the padding out. I did not have to pull the padding out, but it is very, very warm in there, just to warn you. The only air holes you get are these ones right under there. The visor fogs up very quickly. And yeah, what else can I say? Like, if you're not sure, you're only going to be able to wear it for 1 or 2 minutes at a time. So if you're planning on going out to the conventions and staying in character for a really long time, all the best. You're going to need some sort of interior cooling system, because I found it very hard even just to take a couple pictures on my phone, just standing in front of my mirror. The shield is really good looking. I personally wish that he had made it a little bit bigger. I'm 6'1", and when I gave him my measurements, I kind of hoped that he would see that I was taller. You can see how much space there is, like from the tip of the shield down to the belt. And normally, like on Power Rangers, the shield went down, I think, to just above the belly button, and it gave it a more, like a larger, more imposing kind of feel. Whereas this one looks a little bit like kind of a bib, just because, to be fair, the mannequin is like 6'4". It's insane. He's like a good 3 inches taller than me. But I just wish that he had compensated, because it's a one-size-fits-all kind of shield. I just kind of wish that he would adjust it depending on someone's size, to the point where the shield triangle here is supposed to go over the white diamond on the Green Ranger and Armored Red Ranger, but here it's almost so short that you can see the edge of it peeking through, which makes it seem a little, it just doesn't make it seem as powerful. And so working our way down from the shield, just my next favorite part is the cuffs and the gloves here. The attention to detail and the stitching is just so well done. I'm very, very impressed with the leather work on that. And likewise the boots, which I'll get a close-up of for you here. Again, the stitching, the soles, just the way the boots are put together. Like I said, I'm just leaving it on a mannequin, so for my purposes, they are just beautiful. But if you're planning on wearing them out and walking around, I cannot attest to how well they'll hold up. But for display purposes, it's great. Also, the belt buckler is super detailed. I love the mold on the T-Rex and the paint job. They painted it gold for me. Okay, so now I just want to get into the negatives. Anyone who is like a lifelong defender of Aniki and, you know, disagrees with me, I just want to say these are things that disappointed me. Maybe there was too much hype going into it, or maybe I had unreasonable expectations for a cosplay suit. But when I opened it up, these were just things that stuck out to me as being a little disappointing. So the biggest disappointment for me, because the helmet is so amazing, is this giant defect right here, just where all the paint and kind of molding is chipped off. I don't know what caused that, because when I opened the box, not only was it bubble wrapped and then saran wrapped, so it was double wrapped up. It was super safe in there, very well padded, wrapped in newspaper. I don't think it happened during shipping. That was shipped out that way. I know it's a tiny little thing to complain about, first world problems and all, but you know what, you pay $1,000 for a suit, and something like that, especially when you hear about Aniki's amazing quality, personally I was incredibly disappointed in. I actually emailed Aniki once I saw that big chip on the side there, and all he said, no apology, no explanation. He just said, try to repaint yourself. I know I'm expecting like American business kind of customer support here, and maybe that's unwarranted, but I would have liked at least, you know, maybe some info about what kind of paint, like the paint code number, so I can get it to match perfectly, or you know, the type of paint, like what kind of paint would I go? Would I go to a hobby store? I ended up picking up this touch-up pen here for cars, and I just had to match the color by eye. So I'm gonna try that later. Maybe I'll update and let you guys know if it worked or not. As of now, he said it doesn't make sense to ship it all the way back to him to redo it. He'll definitely not send me a brand new one. So in that regard, I guess I didn't expect kind of that sort of problem with the helmet. I was kind of hoping that he had some sort of quality guarantee. When you pay $1,000 for something, you know, and it's delayed, and he says it's delayed because we're making sure the quality is perfect, and then you receive it and it's not perfect, that's not really okay in my books. So working our way down from that huge chip in the helmet, the fabric that he uses here is all kind of pilling out. It's because of all the Velcro he uses. Where if you come around the back, see all this is Velcro right here, and it all straps on. So when you have two pieces on each side and you have to get it around the neck to put it on, I don't know if I can demonstrate this, but when you have to kind of like wrap it around your neck, one side of the Velcro, right? It's going to get caught on the material, and the material is like really sensitive to any kind of Velcro picking up. But there's also a big piece of Velcro right here. I think he's trying to make it stick to the front, even though it's too stiff to really lock down. So if you did stick it, this thing would just kind of pull up towards it, which there's no point in doing that really. So I don't understand why this is here. I'll probably pull it off or just cover it up with some tape or something, because again, it sticks down here, and then you get all this kind of, all these threads getting pulled off. I'm not going to be putting it on, taking it off all the time, but still, it's just very bizarre that he put so much Velcro on. And it's the same case here. I know a lot of other reviews have talked about how the Velcro on the back of the belt is just larger than the Velcro he put on the waist of the suit. So all of this sticks on and then rips out little threads and stuff too. It just kind of shortens the lifespan of the suit when all the threads are kind of getting pulled out, and it's just kind of a bizarre creative choice to make. Moving on to the armbands too, again going into size, these things are so short, the bands don't even really close on here, and for someone my size, you can't really get the gold to touch, and so it looks a little weird from the back, having all this Velcro just kind of poking out at you. In this case as well, I'm going to try and get under here. See how this is peeling off? You can see that already. It's because when you attach the Velcro is actually so strong that when you peel it off, even just once, even just one time. Like I stuck it on, I tried it on myself before I put it on the mannequin, and the Velcro is so strong that when you tear it off itself, it actually pulls the glue off before it comes apart, which it's very powerful Velcro. I'm glad he used good quality of it, but it destroys the suit really when you have to put it on and take it off all these times. Also, while we're kind of on the topic of the Velcro, I just wanted to show the back of the belt. So you can pull the Velcro off to adjust how tight the belt is. And again, the first time I undid the Velcro to try and adjust the size, the glue just came right off. The Velcro is so strong, it actually pulls the glue, the backside off before the Velcro separates itself. So I don't know, he's gonna have to work on a way to fix that. I don't understand if he's able to stitch this kind of like awesome quality with the zipper and like all this cross stitching here to get the leather pieces on, why he couldn't stitch the Velcro directly on here, giving it some sort of legitimacy. I'm super disappointed in the belt. Now, case in point, Aniki knows that the glue isn't very good because he specifically gives you a little bit of crazy glue in the package. He actually included this little tube of, I think it's power glue, pun may be intended, but he includes that in so that you can, I guess, do your own repairs if things start to peel off, which is nice of him, I guess, to include some sort of way to repair the stuff. But again, personally, in my opinion, if you're spending $1,000 on a suit, you don't want the pieces to pull apart after the first tug. I also wanted to single out the belt as being probably particularly disappointing. Aside from the chip in the helmet, the belt is very unimpressive. I don't want to sound mean here, but just compared to the quality of the gloves and the cuffs, like these look so legit. And you can see this is just Sharpie. He just ran Sharpie along here. It's all kind of inconsistent texture, and like that, like you can tell that this isn't stitched or like printed or anything. It's just sort of like, my suspicion is that he had all these squares cut out for the stuff like the cuffs and the gloves, all these square pieces of leather, and along the edges where he cut out maybe like the shape of the boot from the square pieces of leather, he had this kind of scrap running along the sides, and in order to save money, he used these scraps sort of like unbacked, just cut out leather bits here. The gun holster is very similar. You can see it's just Sharpie run along the sides of it. Even like the way the belt is cut, it's not totally straight. Like it wasn't done in one nice slice. It sort of like juts up and down a little bit. So that's definitely the most disappointing part of the costume for me, especially considering the quality and the stitching of the gloves. It's a nice thick piece of grain leather. You can see the texture on the leather here, and like the stitching along the cuffs and everything, and on the diamonds, and it's just like it's reinforced and kind of a thicker cut. I don't understand why he would just half-ass it on something like this, to the point where like it's such a thin little piece, you can see it just flops over from its own weight. There's a lot on this costume that I could not do myself, and that is why I spent $1,000 and paid Aniki to do it for me. But I'm pretty confident that I could actually take a scrap piece of white leather and just cut it really quickly and just draw some Sharpie on it. So that's sort of, I think I'm most disappointed because I can see what he's capable of, and so to half-ass something like this is just a little out of left field. I don't understand why he would just skim on one of the details when he puts so much care into the other details. So to sum up, definitely do not regret the purchase. I'm super happy to have something this ridiculous in my apartment, something that has meant so much to me from my childhood, and I remember going as a Power Ranger like 2 or 3 Halloweens in a row as a kid, and just having to like put cardboard cut out diamonds on a red sweatshirt, and just wishing that I could have a real legitimate Power Ranger costume like exactly the ones from the show. It's always been in my head like one day I would have a real suit. As silly as that sounds, it's just a childhood dream for me, so don't regret the purchase at all. But I do have to be honest, if I had seen this in a store and it had the $1,000 price tag on it, I would probably have examined it a little closer and maybe decided that I'm not going to go with this particular suit. Maybe I just would have gone with the helmet. Maybe I would have gone with the helmet and the gloves and the boots, because those are by far the best quality, like the best quality parts of the suit. The suit itself, actually, I didn't really get into. The suit itself is a really good material and looks pretty much legitimate for, comparatively to what they used on the TV show. It's like the nice shiny kind of stretchy material. I measured myself 3 times. I thought my measurements were pretty accurate, and it fits everywhere except for some reason in the shoulders. I had to bunch this up over here because the shoulders actually come out to here. And I think that might have been my mistake, or it might have been, Aniki not being clear enough. English isn't his first language, but on t-shirts, right, you measure down to the shoulder here, somewhere where like the stitching takes over. And I think when he wanted it measured, he wanted it right here at where your collarbone kind of ends, that bump in the collarbone, because that's where the diamonds are going to go straight up and down, and like that's where they're going to kind of frame the shoulder coming out. But I measured down to here, so when I wear it, the diamonds kind of come out at an angle, and it looks a little goofy because the diamonds are supposed to be straight cut. So just a heads up, if you're going to order, try and, when he says measure to your shoulder, measure at the collarbone right there, because otherwise the diamonds are going to stick out too much at kind of an angle. It makes it look loose and ill-fitting. And also the second thing that doesn't fit is in the crotch area. So I measured it loosely, like around the groin. But he ended up giving me like 4 inches, and so it ends up looking like MC Hammer pants, kind of like it rides like just above the knees. Like I can't spread my legs very far, and it's just kind of bizarre because everything else fits. So I don't understand why that one measurement didn't work. You can kind of see I'm touching down here. Yes, giggle as much as you want, but there's all this loose fabric here, and I actually had to safety pin it back because it hung so low, like it came to about here. Yeah, if you're looking for a Power Ranger suit, you can definitely do a lot worse than Aniki. If you are prepared to have to deal with very poor communication on his end, he does not always respond 100% of the time. If he does respond, it takes him 24 hours that you have to wait for him to get back to you the next day. So conversations can be very slow. Also, he doesn't really give you that much detail. You can ask where, what time are you going to ship the suit out? Like when are the suits shipping? Like why is there a delay? And he'll respond. So he's saying like, we respond, we communicate now, but he really doesn't say anything. All he says is, it's on its way, please wait. And then you can email him again the next week and he'll just say, it's on its way, please wait. And so he doesn't actually communicate, but he does respond. So that gets a little frustrating. Also, just if something does show up chipped or the wrong size, you're not going to be able to fix it. It's luck of the draw if yours is good quality or not, if yours passed the quality inspection or not. So if you're willing to gamble with that kind of money, then go for it. Obviously, if you're watching this review, then you're interested in buying, I would assume. So I'm not going to deter you from buying it, because if you like the way this looks, you probably can't do better for a cosplay suit. But my warning is, if there's any kind of hesitation about spending this much money, I would put pieces together and maybe buy the suit and the shield and definitely the belt. Like, not the belt buckle. The belt buckle is amazing, but if you can find someone who does a better belt all-inclusively, I would definitely try and go with them, because this isn't all that impressive when it comes to the belt and the holster. So yeah, I mean, I don't regret the purchase, but if I had seen this in stores, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. I wouldn't have gone for it. I probably would have seen the little flaws and the little details and been like, for $1,000 I expect way better. And maybe I'm being unreasonable, but it's, it's like getting a wedding suit. I feel like you go to a tailor and you get something custom made for you. He does all the measurements, and you pick the material and you pick the shade of the color, and everything is down to your personal preference. And then 2 weeks later he ships it to you, and there's a hole, like let's say one of the seams is busted and the sleeve is peeling off, and you call and complain. You're like, hey, I paid $1,000 for my wedding suit, what's the deal? And he'll say, oh no, I gave you a needle and thread in the pocket, so fix it yourself. you wouldn't be happy, would you? You would probably complain and say like, you know what, for the amount of money that I'm paying, I understand that it's custom made and it's handmade and all that, but there's a certain expectation when you're purchasing something like this that he did not meet. And I see it the same way as this. Like, overall, it's great. Some people do have, did get flawless suits in the mail, and I'm sure they'll disagree with me because they didn't have any problems, but I guess just to sum up, I would say that I don't think it's worth the $1,000. If you disagree, I mean, feel free to comment. I'd love to hear your guys' stories about Aniki. Overall, like I said, I don't regret having it, but yeah, I think the price tag is a little high. So if I could recommend anything to Aniki, it would just be stop taking so many orders to the point where you're getting delayed and you have to rush things out. Take half the orders that you get and put out a better product, because I think he's gotten more popular over the last year and he's taking in too many orders, and he can't pump this stuff out in good enough quality for the money that he's charging, and that's the honest truth about it. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna try and repaint this helmet now, and thanks for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. It was supposed to be a short review. It went on a little long. I'm going to stop rambling now and let you go back to looking at Aniki suits on the internet. Thanks, guys.